G'day yoga lovers, it's Mike here. Today I wanted to share with you a really amazing situation or an awakening that I've had, and I hopefully this will be of benefit to you guys, because I've learned so much in this last month than for a very long time, let's say. So over the last couple of years, I've had some situations that have completely thrown me. Some situations have been highly contrasting, and my experience at the time was trauma. And there's been other times where I've been completely taken by surprise and shocked. And it's really interesting because it unearthed a subconscious belief that I was holding about myself that I didn't realize that I had, or how endemic it was in my system, which has since gone, by the way, and I'll tell you how I got to that point. So the belief was that it doesn't matter how good life is, on some level I'm always going to be vulnerable. So vulnerable to misjudgment or attack. And I think I've developed this old past belief because I've got evidence of it. When I was younger, I got mercilessly bullied. I've been in situations, as we all have, that have been really not pleasant. But I didn't realize I was carrying it so much. And recently I had a situation it's just the past now, but it really brought to a head this subconscious belief that, life can be fantastic. And my life is fantastic. I so appreciate my business, my community we've created here, my home, my friends, my family. I've got so much to be appreciative of, as you guys do as well. But for some reason, I've carried this subconscious belief that I'm not worthy. It goes down to I'm not worthy. Therefore, I'm always going to be vulnerable to someone coming along and doing something, saying something, or whatever. Which is not true, Now, don't get me wrong. You can't control someone else's behavior. You really, really can't. You can appeal to their goodwill, you can make a statement for your humanity, but ultimately you can't influence what other people do. But you can certainly change how you feel about any situation, including the response or the behaviors of others. I will say it's been very reassuring to know that in certain situations I've completely panicked and felt really bad about panicking, almost embarrassed about panicking. But I realize now that panic is actually completely and natural and normal. It's a primal response, and panic can be really appropriate in some situations. If you've got a 3-year-old climbing a bookcase and they're about to jump off, panic will get you from here to there to grab them before they fall. So panic has its purpose. It's a primal cortisol adrenal response. So we want to keep that, but we don't want to stay in it too long. So don't feel bad if you panic. Please don't. It's actually, that's hugely relieving. A first responder told me that. He said, you've got to stop telling people to stop panicking, because you can't stop panicking. You have to panic. It's an adrenal primal response, but just shorten it. But also make sure that if anything happens to you, and we call it contrast, that you don't take it personally. Life's not personal. You get to change your mind how you feel about the situation. Yes, you've attracted it in, but there's this beautiful thing that happens if you let it, and that is it will unearth beliefs about yourself that are no longer serving you. If you feel rage, anger, revenge, frustration, agitation, fear, hatred, any of those emotions, that means that you are not thinking about yourself in the way that your spirit does, which loves you unconditionally, So if you feel heavy or negative, absolutely that's a sign that you're not thinking about yourself in a way that your spirit does, that loves you completely unconditionally, wants the best for you, has the best for you waiting for you, just waiting for you to allow yourself to feel it and embrace it. So I've learned, it's just been the best lesson ever. I've also learned that it's okay to have contrast or negative experience. It doesn't mean you're off your path. You're still definitely on your path. But it's just helping you clarify what you do want. When you experience what you don't want, you actually then experience or get to a better understanding of what you do want so that you can ask for it and then you allow yourself to receive it. So it's actually a really, really good thing. Contrast or a negative experience, we don't call it negative experience anymore because all experiences are good experiences, actually get you closer to what you actually don't want. When you feel you're off your path, you're actually still on your path, but you could just get a little closer to your center. So that's been really, really helpful. I've also learned, and this has been the best, is that I could do with appreciating what I love and have in my life even more. And I did a video about this, about appreciation as opposed to gratitude. I realize now that when things are fantastic, that, which they are for me, that I should be milking that and owning it and claiming it as my own, as being the truth and the reality of who I actually am. So that when contrast comes along, I'm not thrown out of the vortex so far. You're going to be thrown out so that you can look at it and go, wow, it's actually really good in there, and go back in. But that's actually been a really big eye-opener for me as well. So, you know, there's situations that I'm working through now that we could call contrast. But boy, has it been a big learning curve, and how fantastic life actually is. I'm very, very appreciative of everyone, including you guys that have watched this video. Yeah, so hang in there. It's fine to panic, just don't stay in too long. When you feel heavy, it means that you're not thinking about yourself in the way that Spirit does. So you might as well hang out with Spirit or a friend that loves you unconditionally, or a family member, because they know the truth of who you are. And really appreciate the good times, because you'll find when you look at your life, there is usually, almost always, way more good than bad. Even those words are inappropriate. But anyway, so thanks guys, I hope that helps, and I'll see you on the mat.